And we're delighted to be joined by a man fresh off his debut appearance on the Champions Tour and came away with a win. He's also won a few times on the PGA Tour. Delighted to talk to Zach Johnson. Zach, thanks for being with us. How are you?
Gentlemen, I'm great. Yeah, thanks for letting me come on. Very special.
Uh, Congratulations on your debut on the Champions Tour and coming away with a win. What were your expectations going into that?
You know, I really didn't have many. If anything, my mentality was, man, who's in the field? Who am I going to see that I haven't seen in a while? I mean, it was more like the relationship side of things than even the competition. My game's been pretty good. I mean, as far as what I've been working on and what I've seen, even last year was okay at times. But the beginning of this year, I played a couple tournaments on tour, made a couple cuts, but I felt good about my game. So like the competition thing really wasn't like on the forefront. It was more like, okay, I got to get used to this. I got to, kind of get used to the cadence and the rhythm of the week because it's different. 3 rounds, 2 pro-ams, et cetera, et cetera. Like that was where those were my mental thoughts and my expectations. But never did I'm like I always entered a win, but I didn't think it necessarily happened. I was just kind of staying right where my feet were. I mean, if I'm going to be honest.
Well, how did that it's really interesting what you bring up. What the whole cadence of the thing is completely different. How do you
Mm.
adapt to that? Like it's because it is a different mindset. It's a different uh, sort of way of going about it. And
Right.
golfers are creatures of habit. If nothing else,
100%.
we are creatures of habit. So how did dealing with those changes sort of affect you?
Right. I mean, you actually nailed it. When it came to, yeah, I think the only difference, call it first tee to 18th green, was well this one was more unique because we did have NFL Hall of Famers, but I've played in pro-ams. I've played in the
Yeah.
Amex and AT&T, and so that wasn't that uncommon. But the biggest difference was, do I take a cart or do I walk? Like that's a pretty awesome question to have to answer. And I did a little bit of both, so I figured that part out, I think, and that may evolve and change. But to answer the truest part of your question, the cadence, the rhythm of the week, I know, depending upon what the tournament was or is, what time my pro-am tee time will likely be on Wednesday. I know what I'm doing Monday through Wednesday to prepare for Thursday through Sunday on the PGA Tour. It's like I didn't have to tell my caddy. Like it's
Yeah.
such a routine and a I would say a very harmonious rhythm that it just happens. So it's different, and I'm gonna have to get used to that. I don't have the physio side of the thing down yet either. I've had individuals that I've traveled with over the years that have helped me, you know, play and not get hurt, if you will. So I've had to kind of figure that part out a little bit, and we'll continue to. But it's going to be different. I'm not playing 2 pro-ams every week. I might play one. What do I do when I don't play that day? Do I get it on a Monday night? Do I get it on a Tuesday? It's all of that, and I've got to. I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, as all of them told me, good to have you, Rook. I mean, because I am. I mean, I'm a Rook.
Yeah.
And I'm the. It's one of the only professions where when you turn 50, you become one of the youngest.
Yeah.
Nice, Zach. So I'm a stats guy. I'm really into the history of the game.
He's the stats guy. Let's be clear. He's the
Fair.
stats guy.
Yeah.
So after the 2015 Open Championship, my favorite list that have maybe been able to surface in golf over the last, I don't know, 20 years I've been doing this, were the players to win an Open at St. Andrews and win at Augusta National.
Yeah.
The list is, and I'll just read it because it'll be fun to see your face as I read it. Sam Snead, Jack Nicklaus, Seve Ballesteros, Nick Faldo, Tiger Woods, and Zach Johnson. So one, do you ever get tired of hearing that fact? And two, what is your favorite memory from that special week? It's probably my favorite place on the planet, but that week at St. Andrews where you got that win.
Yeah, that's so kind. Which one's not like the other, as they say, right?
It's the company you keep, man.
Yeah,
They never be able to
It
take
is what it
away.
is. It is what it is.
Can't change that history. I'm grateful for it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that, immediately after it, but I'm reminded by it every now and again. Not frequently, but it's a nice reminder. I mean, it's an unbelievable reminder. I mean, I never did I dream that far. So, that week, full transparency. I mean, Augusta's Augusta. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's hallowed grounds. It is the Masters. It is rich and all of that. My favorite tournament to compete in has always been the Open, and it's probably, well, for a few reasons. I think number one, if you can get your feet on those venues, you just really appreciate how the game started. I mean,
Yeah.
it hasn't changed a whole lot over there as far as topography and aesthetics. Like it is what it is. Mother Nature has her way, and it's brown, it's green, or it's somewhere in between, right? And that's fine. And I love that. I just love the natural nuance of that. That's the way it's supposed to be. So that, coupled with the fact that we just don't have courses like that over here, it requires everything. It requires, you say you got to hit it low because of the wind and the bouncing and rolling, and you do. You got to be able to navigate that left to right, right to left, but you got to be able to hit it high, and you got to be able to land it soft. I mean, you got to do everything, and so I just appreciate what the Open requires. And when you leave there, you know exactly what you need to work on and what's good. So, and I knew that, before 2015, I had some decent weeks over there, and I always thought it was one week where I could really make a mark in the majors, just because I have the tendency to kind of keep the golf course in front of me. And that's always been one that I think that notion really helps. And so, I mean, that week, if I go back to it and reminisce, yeah, the week before I was furious because I felt like I should have won and let one go at the John Deere Classic. Had every opportunity to win that one and didn't. And furious is a strong word, but I was pretty pissed. My wife was with me. She didn't go to many Opens, and she was with me. And my sports psychologist, Dr. Mo, was with me. And I'm like, man, you're not happy. And so I had to get over it pretty quick. And fortunately I did. My game was in good shape. I mean, that goes without saying. And so, once I was able to clear, as golfers, you have to turn the page.
Yeah.
At the shortest amount of time, whether it's shot to shot, whole day to day, week to week. I mean, you have to turn the page. And so, I've obviously got accustomed to that, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. And I did it. I did it well that week, fortunately. And yeah, that week surpassed any and all expectations, if I'm going to be blunt.
Well, yeah, listen, I can't speak for Justin, but going to the Open was the favorite thing I've ever done in my career. Just being there and understanding the history of the game, and just like for me, it's truly an Open, like in the sense that they don't sell out. You show up, you got a ticket. I love that about the Open Championship. And Zach, as we're having this conversation about the history of the game and winning on that hallowed ground, the history of the game feels like it's about to be changing with Brian Rolap's press conference tomorrow. What's going to be there? What's not going to be there? Yeah. What are your concerns about maybe the way things are headed on the PGA Tour, and what are you expecting to learn tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't, given it a ton of thought as of late. I am a traditionalist in a lot of ways. Probably, definitely a PGA Tour loyalist to the nth degree. I've talked to Brian, great guy. I mean, I say that I've talked to him more than once. Been in a couple meetings, if you will. I'm certainly not going to say I'm privy to, the back office of everything. I'm not on the board anymore. I did serve my time. Not on any committees. I did like those. Those were fun. But, I think, life is about change. There's also evolution in things. And I understand that. I do understand that we have a lot of things we have to check off a list. And those check marks need to be, you have to pay attention to each and every one of them. They're very significant. We are entertainment. We have to satisfy our partners, our constituents. We wouldn't be playing without them. So you have to check that one off. You have a congregation of players that really do make up the tour. We're a membership group. You get to check that one off the list, and there's more. I'm sure there's more, but those seem to be the three big ones, and maybe another one. I mean, I throw one in. I would love to honor history and tradition and why things were formed the way they were. Golf is an amazing platform, and that's how it started. We started going to communities to do all what I just said, and then serve those communities, right? Stewardship. So
Yeah.
I think if you take those four things and make those the priority, you can still change and evolve with the times. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think any of us really do. And heck, maybe Pontevedra still doesn't really know. But I do see some of the writing on the wall. I do appreciate that, things have moved and changed. Some forces that we aren't in control of. And so to balance all of those elements is extremely difficult. And I've always been one that I trust the individuals there. Certainly, Brian and his team, certainly our independent directors who are extremely savvy and know what they're doing, given the industries that they're all in. And there's a reason why they're serving on our board, and they are serving. I mean, they are serving for the betterment of the game of golf, professional golf. And then I also trust my peers. So that may be naive, but I don't have a choice. And so as an individual where the PGA Tour gave me everything that I could ever desire and want in my profession and more, side note, caveat, thank you, Tiger Woods, I have to trust them. And so I'm of that faction. And so I may not like it. I mean, it's like things in the world right now. I don't have to agree with everything, but I'm going to respect it. And I believe in the end, if they can keep the core, kind of those principles I just mentioned, but then really just maintain the beauty of the platform of the game of golf. Like we talk about it. They talk about it every week on TV, the AT&T and the community it serves, and what the waste management does with the monies they raise, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's legitimate. I mean, I sit on the board of the John Deere Classic. The monies that go to those communities around that area is instrumental and pivotal. So that's not including, all the foundations and charities that all of us players have attachments to, in some other avenue. Like, it's an amazing game. And so I just hope, and I'm pretty confident, I just hope that none of those notions are lost.
Yeah, it's a juggling act. And by the way, that might have been the greatest side note caveat drop in ever. Thank you, Tiger Woods. I mean, that was chef's
I'm
kiss.
also a realist, and and my boy T-Dub.
Yeah,
it may not have been on purpose, but I appreciated his purpose in working. I'll just say that.
Everybody wins. That is the phrase. Everybody wins. What's a high tide rises all ships, right? That's
100%.
That was 100%. The Tiger Woods effect.
And he's going to play in the PGA Tour Champions, according to Zach Johnson. I have no idea, but if he does, that tide's going to go up too. But anyway.
Well, I will tell you, I talked to Nota Begay on this podcast, and he thinks Tiger will participate. I don't know to what level, but I think that is something that's going to happen. Okay,
Zach,
I was going to ask
there's a 100% chance that gets aggregated. So just so you know.
Yeah, but since I was going to ask something else, but before I do that, since you mentioned caveat, thank you, Tiger Woods, and obviously the history of winning at the Open, and you just laid that out perfectly why that was so special. The idea of being able to stare down Tiger at Augusta in 2007 has to be an off the charts experience for you.
Yeah, off the charts, off the rails, off it all. Like, I mean, it was, there's certain things that I remember vividly, and I didn't really have to stare him down, thankfully, because I was a couple groups in front of him. However, I mean, throughout the day, I told my caddy, I'm just not going to look at the leaderboard because, I mean, it's just not necessary. I know who's behind me. I know his record, and I can hear it. I essentially feel it, right? So I'm just going to stay gonna stay in my lane. I'm gonna stay in my fairway. I'm gonna go about it that way. Unfortunately, it worked out like that. But I mean, I remember on 15 green, I walked off 15 green. I made par on 15, and I'm walking to 16 tee, and at that point, I'm like, all right, D, I probably need to know where we're at now. I mean,
Yeah.
I birdied the last 2 out of 3. I kind of sense it. You feel it from the fans, the patrons, as to what's kind of going on. And there was a point in there on 15 where there was this crescendo roar. You knew it was coming from 13. There's only one individual that can hit a shot with that amount of base and electricity. And so I knew something happened there, obviously an eagle. And so I'm like, I got to know where we're at. Like, he's like, well, we got a couple. And I'm like, we got a couple. What does that mean? He's like, well, we're up 2. I'm like, what? Anyway, and so then I looked at the board and I'm like, okay, yeah, he just made eagle and we're still up 2. And so then it was like, oh, this is real. Like, this, okay, we are literally in every kid's dream right now. So at that point, I was still pretty calm. If I go back to it, I mean, I think about the piece I had was pretty profound, and I don't want to say it was out of body because I really felt good. Like, I could feel, it wasn't like I had electricity going through me all the time. I felt pretty good. It was in control. So making a birdie on 16, knowing that, was probably one of the best shots and putts I've ever executed. 3-putted 17, but at that point I'm like, okay, I'm still in it. And then 18, just getting done with the day and making a par was massive. And so, I remember tapping in on 18. Thankfully, it was about that far. And I'm like, okay, I got to get ready for a playoff. That was my mentality. Like, playoff is possible. I mean, I could lose, but I could maybe be in a playoff. I had no idea what was going to happen. They were so far behind me, and there's a reason behind that, but neither here nor there. And so that was my mentality. And I went into the clubhouse, kissed my 4-month-old, who's now 19, and went in the clubhouse.
Wow.
And just kind of got situated, got my wits about me. And then Tiger didn't birdie 17, so he's still 2 back going into 18. And I'm like, okay, I'll just watch. And I'm telling you right now, going back to what you said, Trey, like, he never ceases to amaze any. Like, he does it all, whether it's a chip, a putt. I'm like, he's gonna make his second shot on 18. He's gonna make it, and it didn't go in. It landed on the green, and my manager turned to me and goes, "You just won the Masters." And I'm like, "Oh, it had not hit me." I'm like, "This is it." That was surreal. That was the most surreal time that I've experienced in my job. I stood up. I remember hugging my manager, Brad, and then I looked to my right. This is where it gets weird. And I shook hands with some people, and I shook hands with Boris Becker. And I'm like, why is Boris Becker in the men's locker room at Augusta National on Sunday?
To see Zach Johnson, clearly.
I mean, that was the extent of that exchange right there. And so then I'm whisked away, and the rest is, obviously history. But a surreal moment, a moment that, all right, I'm going to move my camera. This is the best part of that story. I'm kind of going
good.
Here, but that's okay.
No, it's all good.
You get whisked away. You're doing media, obviously. You're doing all of the pleasantries and necessities that you have to do after a win, and obviously the green jacket ceremony and all of that. Like, it was amazing. About 2 hours after everything, you get the I'd say the honor of going in and having a toast with the membership as your champion. I didn't know that, and so it's maybe 2 hours. And so at that point, again, I'm in a whirlwind, and my wife's with me. We have family and friends there. They're all in the Butler cabin having beers and having what you should be doing. And so we go into this cocktail party, and the membership toasts you and presents you with a gift. And so I don't know how long they've been doing it. I'm under the assumption they still do something similar or whatnot, but this is what they present. I don't have any of my trophies. I don't have anything. Like, they're all in Iowa, but there's certain things I'm just not going to part with, and this is one of them. I'm going to turn right there and look up. I don't know if you can see that, but that is a collage of my week at Augusta.
Oh, wow.
Me and my wife twice, and then me up top kissing my 4-month-old, and I'm not going to part with that.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Incredible. Anyway, That's what I remember. Going back to 2007, and I mean, I'll never forget it. It sits right there.
Well,
So Zach,
listen,
go ahead.
Justin.
All
No,
right, real
Justin, go
quick.
ahead.
I know we had you on for really long. We really appreciate your time.
Sure.
That performance in 2007 is one of the great to me in the history of sports. Sticking to your game plan, not deviating from it, and executing to just perfection. I mean, executing to victory. Right. You mentioned, thank goodness Tiger wasn't playing with me. He was a few groups behind. I was a few groups behind. If Tiger's in that final group with you, do you think you still lay up on every par five? Do you think your approach changes a little bit in that different setting now that we're 20 years down the road almost?
I would imagine, fortunately, I had played with him a fair amount prior to that. You know, we were the same age, but
Yeah.
I had experienced the Tiger effect, and my recollection is certainly when he was already having massive successes, was that you just get caught up watching, and you're like, oh shoot, it's my turn to hit. Like, I mean, that really was kind of it, right? Like you're watching every little idiosyncrasy about him, his nuance, like what's he doing and how he does it, the rhythm of it, the tempo of it, all of it. Like that's just what you're staring at. So had I been with him on Sunday at Augusta, I have no idea what would have happened. I was playing with one of my good friends, thankfully, an Augusta resident, Vaughn Taylor, that day. So probably the most ideal pairings and comfortable pairings. And so there's something to be said about that. Now, I don't know. I don't think
it's
I would.
It's an impossible question. Yeah, it's possible.
No, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, everybody's under the assumption that my game plan was to not go for the par fives. Well, that really wasn't exactly how it went. It's just the way it worked. It was a really trying week. I shot one over. Yeah. I mean, Sunday,
the coldest Masters weeks ever, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
One of the coldest weeks ever at the Masters.
I think it's got to be way up there. During competition, it never got above 55. I mean, Saturday was awful. I shot 76 I shot 4 over on Saturday and moved up. So
yeah,
that's not hard math.
No, it isn't. That's a great story. I'm still flummoxed by the Boris Becker part of it.
I know, seriously.
that of all, I'm going down my Zach Johnson interview notes and bingo card. Boris Becker is nowhere. He's nowhere on the list. So you threw a curveball at us. Congratulations. Well done.
It's a fact. So there you go.
That's awesome. Well, listen, Zach, we appreciate the time. We appreciate your insights, and congratulations again on your debut on the Champions Tour, coming away with a win. And who knows? Maybe we'll get you and Tiger squared off in a Champions event on a final round and see how it all plays out.
You know what? I would love to bump carts. That'd be great.
Trade and paint on the seat. Trade and paint like they do in NASCAR on the Champions Tour. Zach, take care, buddy. Always good to hear from you, and continued success.
Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate you. I love your show.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Zach Johnson with us, fresh off his debut on the Champions Tour, coming away with a win. Boris Becker and trading carts and bumping paint. Who knew? All in one show.